Welcome back everybody to another Borderlands 4 breaking news video. Guys, before we get into the video, please don't forget to sub to the channel. We're trying to hit 65k before Borderlands 4 comes out, and the support on the videos has been absolutely insane as of late. I really do appreciate it. So, if you want the #1 source for all Borderlands 4 news, make sure you're subscribed. So before we get into today's video, I want to say to take this report with a huge grain of salt. The reason why is because we currently have no confirmation of this being true. And while I typically would not want to cover this report to avoid spreading potential misinformation, everything points to this being credible. So first and foremost, full credit goes to Durchifall on Twitter. They actually tweeted at me and a bunch of other creators with this information because it had flown under our radar for one good reason. The information we're talking about today comes from a German news site known as GameStar_DE. Now, I've done a little bit of research into this site and into this company as a whole, and it doesn't look like they would have any reason to lie about what they've said. They didn't go around blasting this on Twitter or subreddits trying to get attention for it. This was actually something that just went completely under the radar because a lot of us, obviously in the Borderlands community, don't speak German. However, thanks to Durchifall, this was brought to our attention, and this comes from a video where GameStar are doing a sit-down talking about Borderlands 4, and who I think is the host, maybe, of this video. He is sitting down and talking about an interview he conducted with Randy Pitchford. Now, once again, before we go any further, I want to say, please take the information in this video with a grain of salt. But, assuming this is true, some absolute bombshells were dropped in terms of new things coming to Borderlands 4. So, let's get started with some of the most exciting stuff, and we'll leave the good stuff for last. So first and foremost, they report that Borderlands 4 is on track for an early 2025 release. This would line up with my prediction of the fiscal year release, which would put them in between April and onwards. My current belief with Borderlands 4 is that we will be seeing an April release for the game around the 10th or the 20th. I don't think we're going to see this later in the year. I certainly don't think it will be in September, and this is all because GTA 6, which is also under Take-Two, is also on track to release during that time window, according to numerous people. And so GameStar in this video adds some credibility to this claim by saying that Borderlands 4 is looking like it will be in early 2025 and not late 2025. Now, one of the other things they bring up in this video, which I will have linked in the description by the way, big shout out to them, is that vehicles will function different in Borderlands 4 now. They will not be summoned from a new use station as they typically would be, and instead you'll be able to call your vehicle and have it digistructed on the spot. This is very, very similar to how sparrows work in Destiny, and it's something I'd speculated a while back, but I wasn't sure if they would do it, but seemingly it has been confirmed that this is how vehicles are going to work in Borderlands 4. Now, moving on, something which does add credibility to their claims is something which Randy Pitchford has basically already said at some point. They mention that Kairos is an absolutely huge planet, and that it basically functions as Pandora did as a planet in Borderlands 3, containing a ton of maps within it. However, the difference in Borderlands 4 is that there is no fast traveling in between maps. There is no requirement to use a fast travel at any point to get to another section of Kairos. It is one big seamless world. Now, that's important to note. They don't say it's an open world, and Randy Pitchford has also not come out and said open world. They say seamless world, which means we'll potentially have loading zones to get in between areas. And this is huge because it means that if this is the case, what does this mean for stuff like safe quit farming, right? Safe quit farming is an integral part of Borderlands, whether you like it or not, and it does leave a pending question to be answered on what's going to happen if this turns into a pseudo open world. We did also hear about the rumors of a seamless open world a while back on a Jolts tweet from Randy Pitchford, so it's seemingly being confirmed here that Kairos is one big open world with no requirement to travel in between maps. And now onto the biggest piece of news that we have to talk about here. They make a very, very wild claim, which again I am taking with the biggest pinch of salt because I don't want to go around saying this is absolutely factual until we get confirmation. But GameStar say that in Borderlands 4, Randy Pitchford told them that you are able to double jump and dash sidewards. So in the background right now, I've actually got gameplay of Wonderlands Redux, and for those of you that are unaware, this is a mod that I made for Wonderlands with a few other team members a while back, and it's a big scale overhaul of the game that adds double jumping and dashing as one of the features. So if you want an idea of how this can work, you'll see it in the background right now. And GameStar actually say that this is going to be in Borderlands 4, and that one thing that they heard from Randy and the devs basically said, like, you're not going to be able to go back to Borderlands 3 after playing Borderlands 4 because it's so different in how it plays, and the movement is so different in how it plays, and it just makes the game feel groundbreaking for Borderlands. And so I've got the screenshots, and have had the screenshots you will have noticed of this video up on screen throughout this, but just be aware that this is done with the YouTube translating tool, so it's not a one-to-one translation. But if there are any German speaking people in the comments who want to go and translate any more of this video for us and let us know what else was said, that would be greatly appreciated. Now, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I do want to make it clear that these features are huge, and you would think that this news would have been out by now. So I am taking this with a major grain of salt, because if it ends up being not true, it wouldn't surprise me. But also at the same time, if it ends up being true, that wouldn't surprise me either. There is lots of verticality in these levels from what I've seen, and it makes sense that they would add something like double jump to navigate, and dashing too. For those of you that are unaware, dashing was something that was going to be in Borderlands 3 in the form of an action skill for Zane. If you don't believe me, you can go into Borderlands 3, check the behind the scenes content, and you'll see that Zane had an action skill called the Reality Tunnel. And the Reality Tunnel was a dash. It would dash him forward, almost like a teleport in a way, and he would be able to use this to navigate levels in combat. So it's not out of the ordinary, and it certainly isn't something which is hard to implement if they wanted to do it as well. I would not be shocked in the slightest to see a dash in Borderlands 4, and they were talking a lot about how the movement has evolved and how the game feels when that trailer dropped. And we thought they were just talking about grappling hooks, but in the back of my mind I was kind of like, are you sure you're not referencing something else here? And it looks like potentially they were referencing something else as well. So again, in the event that this is true, it could be absolutely game-changing for Borderlands. I have wanted new movement in the game for a long time, and again, to add this in at this point would be pretty wild, and I would love to see it. But that's going to wrap up today's breaking news on the Borderlands 4 stuff. Guys, let me know what you think of this rumor in the comment section down below, and also let me be clear that if this turns out to not be true, then I will let you know in a pinned comment. So check below this video if you're watching this right now. If there's a pinned comment, it will be updating on whether or not this is true or not. So yeah, just wanted to make that absolutely clear. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to sub to the channel if you want the #1 source of Borderlands breaking news when it comes out to you. I'm very excited for Borderlands 4, even more so now after hearing this, assuming it's true. And yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you guys so much, and I'll check you all in the next one. Have a great day.